Welcome everyone to Bridget and Josh and Heather and Joe's launch call. So happy that you guys are all here tonight using technology. My name is Lori Longfield, and I had the pleasure of meeting Joe and Heather at a garage sale of all places. And they were kind enough to share this fantastic oil with Josh and Bridget, and that is why we are all here tonight. So I was a school counselor of the past 14 years and am a licensed professional counselor with the state of Illinois. And this beautiful oil came my way and it caught my attention. And I've had an amazing experience with it. And that is why I'm here tonight to pass that information along to you guys. So the beginning of the call, I'm going to talk all about kind of like a hemp 101. What is this stuff? What is CBD? And then you'll hear my story. You'll hear Bridget and Josh's story. And then we'll talk a little bit about this new business venture that they have decided to join us as well in. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. I always say I'm a visual person, so I always assume others like to learn that way too. So let's talk hemp oil. Oh, hold on. I want to minimize this so we get a good recording. Okay. So I loved this slide. This like solidified it for me because it's confusing. So cannabis has two species, hemp and marijuana. What we're looking for is the CBD, cannabinoid diol. That is what gives us the medicinal benefits. And we all know marijuana, and we know it's illegal because the THC, that's the psychoactive high that you get. And there is a minute amount of THC in hemp, but it actually, you can see here, has more CBD. So I always explain that hemp is marijuana's sober cousin. That helps me to understand the difference of hemp and marijuana, but it's from the species, it's from cannabis. This all became legal from the Farm Bill of 2014. And the federal legal limit of THC in this country is 0.3%. The oil that we're talking about tonight has 0.002%, so well below the federal legal limit. So what are cannabinoids? There are over 113 different cannabinoid diols found in hemp. And CBD is the one that has the therapeutic medicinal benefits, and THC is the psychoactive one that gets you high, and that is illegal. There is so much research that is gone on and continues to go on in this world of CBD, cannabinoid diols. And I love sending people, you can see here on the left, these are two fantastic websites that share the research. They are pubmed.gov and projectcbd.org. And what we're doing on this Zoom tonight is sharing the research and the science and sharing our personal stories. We do not claim to treat, prevent, cure, diagnose anything. What we are sharing is the science and our personal testimonials. So what is this endocannabinoid system, or ECS? This is fascinating, and you could hours listen and learn about this. So we all have an endocannabinoid system, just as we have a nervous system, an immune system, and unfortunately, this system is dormant in our bodies because we are not feeding it the right stuff to activate our receptors and bring this endocannabinoid system to life. And those foods include chocolate, can you guys mute yourselves out? If you can see the bottom left of your screen, there's a microphone. If you guys can mute yourself, please. Thank you. So these receptors are activated by chocolate, by meditation, the runner's high. It's actually in women's breast milk and in phytocannabinoids, and phyto meaning from plants. So the plants that have CBD are cannabis, cacao, echinacea, black pepper, kava, and ginger, but we aren't eating enough of this. So our endocannabinoid system is dormant. So why do we want to activate this endocannabinoid system? Well, there are several things, and we have to be very general when we talk here, but if you Google this stuff, you will see a lot more specific disease states, but we can't make, like I said, any claims. We can't treat, claim, to diagnose, prevent, cure. We have to talk broad. So the things that it helps with are memory, mood, and focus. It enhances both short and long-term recall, relieves anxiety and depression, focus and calm, physical discomfort, reduces or stops inflamed tissues, muscles, and bones, neurofunction, immune and metabolism, endurance, and recovery. I think we are going to watch a video next so you guys can hear from the doctors of what CBD is doing in our bodies and how it can help us. Oh, right after this slide, I was just kidding. So this is all about bringing our bodies back into balance, back into homeostasis, so our bodies can heal themselves. We are constantly in a state of fight or flight. So this is helping to open up these receptors in our endocannabinoid system, bring our bodies into balance so our bodies can heal themselves. And that's why it's so fascinating I have many, many, many people using this oil, and they all have such different experiences and different stories because all of us have different needs and what our bodies need.
And we're finding out that that manipulation of this endocannabinoid system will control diabetes. It controls cancer. It controls whether you can survive a heart attack or stroke. And so this is critically important for doctors to understand this new science. And the discovery of the endocannabinoid system is the single most important medical scientific discovery ever, and will save more lives than the discovery and application of sterile surgical technique. I'm a heart surgeon saying that. So more people will be saved by manipulation of the endocannabinoid system than are currently saved by surgery.
The recent research has been looking at cannabis and the different cannabinoids. There's over 80 plus cannabinoids discovered in the cannabis plant. The second most dominant one besides THC is cannabidiol or CBD. And the research now is over 1,200 peer-reviewed journals on CBD. It's probably the most exciting and researched ingredient or substance right now around the world. It doesn't have the psychoactive or high that is associated with THC, but it has a tremendous amount of other benefits, including research shows anti-seizure, anti-epileptic, which is why it's gotten a lot of popularity. You do a lot with children with seizure disorders, and they're getting benefits from this plant in a safe, non-toxic way versus all these drugs that typically don't work. And there's neuroprotective benefits. So you see a lot with concussions in the NFL. There's a lot of research being done now with chronic traumatic encephalopathy or chronically banging their head a lot. There's anti-anxiety, which is really important. It's the anti-THC of sorts. It calms you down. It helps you manage stress better, which is how I look at it. It's much more as a preventative or daily use substance than just treating disease states. And there's immune support. It's a huge antioxidant. There's just a tremendous. It's easier sometimes to talk about what it doesn't do than what it does.
Long time, the work on cannabis and epilepsy was sort of inconclusive. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. They couldn't quite figure it out. And it's only when they really started separating THC from CBD that they saw, definitively, yes, CBD seems to really stop seizures.
The medicinal uses of hemp are just numerous. The hemp helps, we can talk about the cancer effects of hemp, but it helps with inflammation. It's very anti-inflammatory. It helps with seizures. It's very effective with PTSD for the vets that are coming back that have post-traumatic traumatic stress disorder. Very effective at treating that. It's an anti-inflammatory. But then the uses of hemp for cancer, what I've studied, because of my book, Cancer Step Outside the Box, and the number of cancers. There's about a dozen different cancers that have been studied in depth with medicinal marijuana with hemp. And so the studies from brain cancer to prostate cancer to pancreatic cancer, uterine cancer, cervical cancer, prostate cancer, it's amazing.
Okay, so what is in hemp?
Chemicals that are called cannabinoids.
Right.
THC is short for delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol. It's the one cannabinoid that everyone's familiar with. That's the one that's psychoactive, and that's the one that gets you high if you smoke it.
Okay.
But there's other cannabinoids. One is called CBD, cannabidiol, and it's very medicinally used. There's no psychoactive component of CBD. That's a really good medicine.
We saw the doctors speak about it, and remember, I just want to say again, we don't diagnose, cure, treat, or prevent any disease or illness, but this is what the doctors are saying about CBD. And here comes in this oil. So at this point, I want to share my experience with the oil, and then I'd love Bridgette to share her experience. So let me come back on. So I first started using the oil because I had chronic heel pain, sometimes known as plantar fasciitis. And it was shooting pain every single time I stood up. And I had that pain for 2 years. And I went to chiropractors and massage therapists and stretched and iced, and nothing helped. So I was very curious to try it for that. And within 3 weeks, my pain was 95% gone. And within 6 weeks, my pain was 100% gone. And I've been using this oil for a little over a year, and it has not come back. So that was the first thing that I noticed. Then I noticed it helped me tremendously with my anxiety. It helped me be a much happier person. I have realized now that in the stress of day-to-day life, I was a very reactive person, and it's quite exhausting to be reactive all the time. And now I don't react as much, like last night when we found a raccoon in our window well in the basement and said, ah! So I was calm, cool, and collected, and we figured it out thanks to Heather and Joe. And I have 2 young daughters, 5 and 7, and I would always say, while I still bark at them a little bit, I don't bark as much. My fuse is much, much longer. I thought I slept well before. I sleep amazingly now. And I also, thank God, I don't get a lot of headaches or migraines, but when I do, they're bad. And I literally can take a pump or 2, hold it under my tongue, and before I even swallow it, that headache is gone. And I'm back in the game. So that's been my personal experience with this oil. I would love for Bridgette and Josh, if you guys can unmute yourselves and tell us what this oil has done for you so far.
Thanks so much, Lori.
Yeah.
I guess it's really hard for me to put it into words because I suffered air embolism to my brain and a stroke about 4 years ago. And we have been on quite a journey states away looking for answers and solutions. And I've been on the oil for about 2 months now. And I can say that honestly, it's the best I have felt in 4+ years. And I just cannot believe how honestly life-changing it has been. I'm like getting emotional thinking about it because I feel like I have myself back now. And, I had everything from issues dealing with stress to brain fog. I have a couple vision disorders that I feel have improved due to the hemp. I'm driving more, including highway driving, just little bits. I have to take a step of faith and drive farther now, but just really gaining back so much of my life. I have had thyroid problems since the stroke as well. And I just noticed this week after putting clothes on a couple different times, I'm like, this feels looser. I'm not ready to step on the scale yet, but I really feel like maybe my thyroid is starting to kick back in. My speech has been great. I'm not stuttering anymore. I am sleeping better. I am sharp. I'm on it. I'm multitasking. Things that would have put me down in bed for days. I am like still super productive at nighttime. I'm like my aunt's on here, and I'm even like being able to cook dinner and not be exhausted with my family. And I'm sure, she's probably on mute, but she's like, woohoo! And I mean, for the day I've had today, for me to even still be up and like on it and talking to you all, like anybody who knows me knows that that's not the Bridgette that they know. So it really has, just in a quick nutshell, I mean, I could go on and on and on about how my life has been changed, and I just want to help other people because we have tried so many things and this is it. So, but I feel like, I don't know how else to put into words except just total life game changer.
So as a result of her taking the oil, I'm much happier because I have my wife back. But I would say that all of the benefits, our kids have their mom back, and that's been a huge blessing. But personally, I've also been taking it for the last 2 months when Bridgette started, and I would probably say that I'm more mellow. I'm usually mellow and happy anyway, but I've got a pretty high stress job, and sometimes it's hard for me to be able to pour into my kids at night and leave work at work, and I've been able to do that, and I've noticed a big change just in sleeping, mental focus, and everything else during the day. So, thanks, Joe and Heather, for introducing us to this stuff.
We're very grateful.
That's just awesome. You got me, Bridgette. I had some tears. And this is why I love doing what I'm doing. It's the stories like this. Unbelievable. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Wow. Unreal. Okay, so let's talk about what this oil is, this magic liquid gold that we call it because it is. Okay. So this oil was formulated by Dr. Chris Shade. He's world renowned. This is him. He has a double PhD, actually. He's a brilliant man. Like I said, world renowned for detox, especially mercury detoxification. He was an organic farmer, and he is the founder of Quicksilver Scientific. And that has been around for over 20 years. And it was only recently that he has collaborated with Prime My Body in the network marketing world to be able to get this oil out to everyone. Quicksilver Scientific, he was able to just share this with clinicians and practitioners, and now we can share to everyone. I love that this oil is not just a CBD isolate, it is full spectrum. So that means there are all these other cannabinoids, phytocannabinoid like CBDA, CBDV, CBG, and they all work synergistically together. So you can see here, CBD is all the blue little dots and THC is the red. The only thing that that CBD does not do, that THC does do, is stimulate the appetite. And most of us do not need appetite stimulation. There are also terpenoids. So I know a lot of you guys are familiar with essential oils. So we get the benefits from essential oils as well, and that helps activate the CB2 receptors. So you can see all of the different, I like when my mom says, beta carotene. Yeah, okay. We'll let my mom say that. But we can see anti-inflammatory, anti-anxiety, helps protect the digestive tract, sleep aid, anti-anxiety. So those are just a few of the things also in the oil. This is my dad, Dr. Rob Heineman. This is really why we got introduced to this. He has his PhD in molecular biology, molecular genetics, and he did research on the liposomal delivery system that is used in this oil and really paved the way to have this on the market for us right now to be able to enjoy and have these amazing benefits. So he is a liposomologist. He got his postdoc at the U.S. Naval Research Laboratories in Georgetown University and worked at the National Cancer Institute for 10 years. So he has worked with this stuff. He has seen it all. So I'm going to explain, because he's done such a great job teaching me what the heck a liposome is. So a liposome has a lipid bilayer, and it's made up of the same outer membrane as our cells. So a liposome is like a little bubble, and it has to be very, very tiny. Nano enhanced is what they call it. And that just means really, really tiny. So if you're talking about a nanosecond, that means a second divided by into a billion. So that's how small this needs to be able to go under our tongue and get into our veins, arteries, capillaries, and then get into our cell, and it tricks the cell, and it gets right in, and it dumps the CBD, or as my dad likes to call it, the payload, right into the cell for 99% absorption, bioavailability. And this is the key to any dietary supplement that you put into your body, is bioavailability, or the amount of which it's absorbed. Because if we don't absorb it, it is not going to do our body any good. My dad likes to say that we walk around in this country with very expensive urine, because most of the supplements we take just go right through us. And unfortunately, CBD is not absorbed well in the body. So all of the other oils that are out there are either in a tincture form or in a capsule form. And you are either, it's going through your body, and like I said, you're only absorbing 10% of that. So that is as if you are pooping and peeing out 90%, or it never even gets to the cells, because it has to go through your digestive tract, and it gets destroyed in the gut. So that's why this is working so quickly and in such a profound way for people, because it's able to get delivered right under the tongue, goes instantly into the bloodstream, breaks the blood-brain barrier, goes in through our mucous membranes. And that's why when I told you when I get headaches, I find relief from that within minutes after putting it under my tongue. This is a comparison, Prime My Body against the leading brand, and you can see its time since ingestion and how much CBD. And at the top, you see it's 5 milligrams compared to 10 milligrams. So you could see this rapid uptake at about right before the 20-minute mark. And that's really important too in the body. And you see the leading brand just flatlines. And I have had many clients come to me from using this leading brand of CBD hemp oil, and they say after they've used Prime My Body, no comparison whatsoever. This is a before and after. Is about 30 minutes, and the red is obviously inflammation in the body, and this is 30 minutes after taking Prime My Body CBD hemp oil. Here are some of the supplemental facts. I love that it's in a sunflower seed oil. Most CBD hemp oils are in a soybean oil, and soybean is genetically modified in this country. And it also, Shade uses the best of the best ingredients. So when he has the opportunity to buy a liter of one of these products, and one is $40 and the other is $400, he buys the $400 one because he wants the best of the best going into our system. Here are the prices. We have 2 size bottles. The big bottle retails when everything is done, shipping and tax, at $165. And wholesale is, when everything is said and done, $140. And we have a small bottle that I use as an accompaniment. So I keep it in my purse, keep it in my nightstand. And I do tell people we have these dormant endocannabinoid systems, so you need a little bit of time to get it up and running. So I do tell people that they, if they're wanting to do this, that they would commit to using it every single day for at least 30 days. And I say that from my personal experience too, because I really didn't feel anything for 3 weeks. And I have my mom to thank as my cheerleader, who said, keep going, because literally a few days later is when I started to feel huge relief in my pain.